Hi ni pi. Wajani wina, jankishana, hini karagiwina. Anachni pi, arajara wi, pi wa unangshana. Good morning and greetings from the land of 11 nations, or as everyone else calls it, Wisconsin. I am doing fantastic this morning, and I sincerely hope everyone else is as well. With so much going on in the world today, and it always seems that there is so much going on, let's just focus on what's going on in our little part of it and see if we can't make sense of that. To each and every one of you who spend a little time every week listening to this podcast, thank you very much. Time is our most precious commodity, and I truly appreciate you sharing yours with me. If you'd like to get in touch with me, ring me up if you have my number. If not, we still have a couple of ways of getting in contact with each other. My email address is moneykaksik@gmail.com. That's MANIKAKSIK@gmail.com. I'm really good about returning emails, so reach out. And I'll get back to you ASAP, if not sooner. I'm pretty active on the Chapotike Facebook page, posting short pieces and the like. Doing better on my Twitter page, so follow me there if you're bored and if you want some great tweets about the Ho-Chunk Nation. LOL. I really don't know why I've slowed down on posting on LinkedIn, but I have for a while. Maybe just lazy. We'll pick up the pace, though. It's not like I've got anything else to do, right? My old nemesis, Instagram. I've thrown a couple posts up there, but I find it challenging. When your product is thoughts and words, trying to conveying that into Instagram is, who am I kidding? I'm just freaking lazy. Stick around though, I'll turn around, damn it. Look, I really enjoy talking and texting with all of you every day. We talked previously of me trying to get out of my bubble and talk to people who disagree with me, or just don't see what I'm trying to do here. In the same vein though, it is really difficult for me to understand people's motivations when they do things but don't supply their motivations and what they hope to accomplish. How can any of us hope to understand someone else when there is no communication? So once again, I want to reach out to any legislator, any director, any executive manager or executive director, anyone who wishes to speak out any issue or confront me on my thoughts and actions. I'm not here to sandbag anyone and edit the interview to make you look foolish. I sincerely want to hear everyone's thoughts, concerns, and solutions. Crowdsourcing. I think that's what the kids are calling it today. Look, I just want our nation to be culturally and economically viable far into the future so that when I pass, I know my nation will be in good hands and endure for centuries. Past Thursday, the Great Lakes Tribal Economic Summit occurred on October 6th at Grand Valley State's Stedman College in Business. This Monday, Indigenous Biz Con will launch for 3 days at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. That's the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Yeah, so what, you might ask, what does that to do with me or the Ho-Chunk Nation? I'll tell you what. Almost every other indigenous nation is focusing on Sections 17 and 16 corporations, separating their business from government, and we are being left further and further behind. And it's not something that has just occurred to them. Some of these corporations are going on their second decade. We have 12 clans, but for some strange reason, we never see them as part of our nation. We never see them as a tool in our arsenal. Perhaps it's time the Office of the President, the Legislature, and 12 clans themselves get in front of the people and seriously explore this option for the Ho-Chunk Nation. Ho-Chunk Inc. of Nebraska, Hard Rock Corporation of the Seminole Nation, Potawatomi Business Development Corporation of the Forest County Potawatomi, Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwa, Minot Manatson, the non-gaming investment arm of the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi Indians, a nation, incidentally, who just celebrated their 28th Sovereignty Day and who created their investment arm just 10 years ago. The Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indian Sioux Tribe, Inc., the Odawa Economic Development Management, Inc. of the Little Traverse Traverse Bay bands of Ottawa Indians, the Porch Band of Creek Indians, operating a multitude of businesses under their umbrella corporations, Wind Creek Hospitality. I can keep going on and on and on and on and on, but I think you get my point. We established ourselves as a nation in 1963, and here we are just under 60 years later, and all we are doing is conducting listening sessions. Our president is on his 6th or 7th listening session, and our legislature has just announced their inaugural Ho-Chunk Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy WebEx conference. I would like to thank them for conducting this meeting in the evening, though. I mean, it's easier for all of us who work. Question: why is the president and the legislature conducting separate meetings? This is a common problem that concerns all of us, and this should be handled jointly. Our entire government should be working on this problem. Our president, legislature, business department, and 12 clans should be locked in a room until they can reach a common strategy that envelops all of our future business strategies. Case in point, the Beloit Casino. We should have had the grand opening of our temporary facility last week. Instead, Ryan Greendeer, legislative spokesman, will address the people of Indigenous Biz Con 2022 and announce the legislative progress and plans for Beloit. We can't even get together and greenlight a restaurant inside the Wisconsin Dells Casino, but we're going to build a casino. President White Eagle says that people don't want money spent on a casino until we get the comp and class situation dealt with. But the legislatures just put out RFPs for those, so that could take a while. And neither the legislature nor the president's office seem to be taking 12 clans seriously at this point, even though they happen to be the only entity with the professional ability and expertise to help our nation out of our present predicament. At the Great Lakes Tribal Economic Summit, discussions on how the Wuhan pandemic and subsequent economic shutdown pushed indigenous nations to focus more than ever on diversifying their businesses outside of gaming. Terry Fitzpatrick, Executive Vice President, Chief Real Estate and Global Attractions Officer at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, said only a few tribes had an economic development arm a decade ago. Tribal nations' real shift ramping up of economic development activity started happening about 5 years ago, she said. 5 years. As undefined as the economic climate is right now, the opportunities are unbelievable, said Joel Schultz, CEO of Sioux Tribe, Inc. Some of this stuff is recession-proof that tribes are getting involved in, Fitzpatrick said. But I also think having a fundamentally different philosophy than the general business community, having a 7-generation philosophy embedded in your culture, allows you to think about these things more long-term instead of being really reactive in the short term. Since 2015, the U.S. Economic Development Administration has invested $30 to $40 million in Indian country, said Lee Shirey, an economic development administrator at the agency. In 2022, a federal rule change set aside funds for the first time for Native American communities, he said. Tribes are almost 100% eligible for funds, while other groups applying for federal funds, such as cities, townships, and nonprofits, have added criteria at the state level. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation does not have set-asides for tribal communities, but they meet many of the factors of eligibility to gain access to the funds, said Tom Durkee, a tribal business development manager at the MEDC. We realized we needed to be better connected to the tribes for several reasons. One of those reasons is because tribes tend to be the largest employers in the community where they exist, Durkee said. This week at the Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, Colin Price and Associates will be hosting Indigenous Biz Con 2022. Indigenous Biz Con will provide an opportunity for attendees to learn, network, collaborate, to learn, network, and collaborate, to build meaningful partnerships that result in businesses, all the while breaking down barriers to economic development, building community, and elevating the voices of Native entrepreneurs. First and foremost, I'd like to heap many praises and kudos to Mr. Colin Price to actually conceive of this idea and then, with the help of his associates, to put this together and execute it is a wonderful accomplishment. It's fantastic. This is done with sweat equity, knowledge, and the power of business and relationships. The fact that this is being done privately without city, county, state, federal, or Ho-Chunk Nation money is a testament to his acuity and his success. There are billions of dollars on the table in the state of Wisconsin. The fact that indigenous nations are not stepping up and taking a sizable share of this is disgraceful. Only lately have we, as indigenous nations, begun to understand the economic power we wield. We have huge advantages with set-asides, with MBEs and DBEs, with our educated tribal members, with our reservation and trust lands. Section 16 and 17 type corporations, LLCs on reservation and trust lands, and indigenous entrepreneurs scattered throughout the state of Wisconsin. These are unrealized strengths. This BizCon will be bringing some of the most forward-thinking Wungshiks in touch with business entities, large and small, men and women, from large cities and small towns. It will bring them in touch and give them the opportunity to network, to explain what they do and what they can do. It will show some of these Wungshiks opportunities that they knew of, but lacked the knowledge of how to gain entry into these markets. This BizCon will also show the state of Wisconsin businesses that we are capable businessmen and women, and that we are capable business entities, that we are capable business nations. Oh, sure, some of us have a long way to go, as individuals, as businesses, as nations. But just to see what's available to us, for us, well, maybe that will motivate some of us into thinking what is possible for our people and our nation. 12 Clan represents a success story that we see in nations all around us. It will definitely take a little courage for the legislature and the office of the president to relinquish some financial control to another Ho-Chunk entity. And this is where we have a huge disconnect. 12 Clans is part of the Ho-Chunk Nation. 12 Clans is us. We are 12 Clans. These two business conferences, BizCon 2022 and the Great Lakes Tribal Economic Summit, are celebrations of where we are presently and where we can be in the future, simply by using all the tools available to us and executing a little political courage.